with you and your family. My name is Pratiksha, and today we are going to cover one of the fundamentals of digital marketing, that is creating a brand, which would eventually be laying a foundation for a successful long-term business. So without any further delay, let's get right into it. As a part of the assignment, you guys would be creating your own companies, you will be creating your own branding guidelines, and based on those branding guidelines or style guidelines, as you say it, eventually you'll be creating your own posts, own videos, own blogs in the next upcoming weeks. All right, so what exactly is branding guidelines? Branding guidelines offer clear-cut rules for how your logo, its color, how the fonts, and everything related to the visuals should look like. So, and I mean, in short, they serve as a reference point as your marketing. So let's say if you're outsourcing your marketing to some other company, so they would obviously ask you like, what would be the color of your logo, how your logo looks like, and all what is the font size and all those things. So based on that, these branding guidelines serve as an effective instrument in communicating your design and the visuals of your branding. All right. So for reference, I like to begin with Spotify's branding guidelines. So I'll showcase along with you how Spotify's branding guideline look like. So I'll just go for and share my screen. All right. So here we are at Spotify's branding guidelines. So Spotify in itself, it has a very detailed branding guidelines. So for example, if you are, let's say if you are a developer with Spotify, so here as we can see it, so it has all the clear-cut details on how the visual should look like. So as you can see here that they have specific rules for iPad. As you can see here, they have specific rules for Apple phones. They have like specific rules for Apple Watch and so on and so forth. They also have it for the desktop app. So here you can see at the bottom that it has very clear cut rules and how everything should be structured. So that there's consistency when someone goes on Spotify's app. Let it be whatever app you go through, you'll be finding very good consistency. So another thing that you can do is, I mean, if you open up your phone, and I'm 100% sure that that content would be pretty much same to the structure that you can see here. So at the top, you will be having the artwork, and even the artwork, as you can see here, it would be in a square format. It wouldn't be like a round format, or it wouldn't be having a logo, as you can see here again. And at the bottom, you will be having the track episode name. Below that, you will be having artist name. So let's say if it's Justin Bieber, then Justin Bieber, and then at the very bottom, you will be having that album, that artist album name. So here you can see it's very, very detailed, and it's as pinpointed as it could be. All right. So again, this is the branding guidelines for Spotify, and Spotify in itself is a very huge company. So obviously, at this point of time, you won't be creating a branding guideline that is so detailed, but you will be creating a branding guideline which would be detailed enough though. Okay. And based on those branding guidelines, in the next week, you would be going forward and creating your images, posts, and so on and so forth. All right. So I mean, this is how things would look like, and this is how, let's say, if you actually go on Spotify, and this is how their homepage would look like. And again, there would be a lot of details around it. Like if you want to link it to Spotify, then how it should look like, playing views, how the playing views would look like, and so on and so forth, how the like panel would look like, and typical do's and don'ts, like how, I mean, this artwork shouldn't get overlapped with the uh, text. I mean, text as in the name of the song, or name of the album, or name of the artist. So here they have a very detailed point to point branding guideline. So now here comes the interesting part. So let's say if you are actually designing social media for Spotify at that point of time, you this clearly shows that how you can go forward and use their logo. So logo, they have like specific rules like how to use the logo. This is how you use the logo. And then minimum size, they also have the minimum size. If it's in print, then how do you use it? If it's online, then they have different rules for online. And then also at the same time, they are also mentioning that you can't even use the old version, because I mean that is not good to the eye. And then they also have gradients, so you don't even have to use the gradients. You can't even change the Spotify's color. So here you can have all the different details and all the mistakes people would generally do, and they have clearly mentioned like these are mistakes you don't really need to do to ensure that customer has a very consistent experience across all the devices. Let it be desktop, let it be app, let it be Apple Watch, or whatever applies here. All right. And also they have like very distinguished color base that they have put up here. So they have like green, and even in green, which color gradient that you have to use. So here they have like 1D B954, and then for white they have like 6 times F, and then for black they have not the usual black that you see everywhere. This is 191414. Usual black is typically hash 00000. So here the black, even the gradient of the black is a little bit different than the usual black that you see everywhere. And again, as you go even at the bottom, you will be seeing a lot of different things along here, how to use the fonts and so on and so forth. All right. So this is how Spotify's branding guideline look like. And now we'll be jumping on Spotify's social media, and then you can see very clearly that they have mentioned that you have to use that particular logo, right? And that logo is something that clearly reflects here. At the bottom, you can see all the different posts, like how their social media posts should look like. And here also you can see very clearly that the fonts they are using, goes is consistent across all of its posts. So across all of his posts, it's using the same fonts. And then even when it comes to the color theme, even I mean they have like similar color theme. It's not like it's something that's one is white and then there's another one that's completely, they have like similar color tones. So as a matter of fact, it's not only for Spotify itself. If you go to any other big social media account, like let it be Coca-Cola, let it be Pepsi, Oyo, Ola, Uber, whatever, all of them, they would be having like consistent branding across all of its different places. So let it be an app or let it be a Facebook page or whatever it is, you will be seeing consistent colors. For when it comes to Coca-Cola, you know very well that how their colors look like red and white is something that reflects all across their packaging and then ads and all those things. So this is why I mean, why do they have these consistent branding guidelines? So that customer has a good experience and it gives an impression of an established company. So in the same way, you guys would be creating your own company, and you'll be creating their branding guidelines as well. And over the next 8 weeks, you would be creating images, videos, posts, and everything else for your own company. Now, the question you might be having is, what type of company do you need to create? So you will be creating a business pretty much similar to Learnica. Why specifically Learnica? Because over the 8 weeks, we'll be giving you some real-time examples related to Learnica, wherein we'll also be showcasing you our internal dashboards. And that is how you would be getting better relevancy around it. And with this portfolio company, you would be able to relate it better rather than having some generic company like some clothing company or a cake shop or something like that. Now, the question exactly what you would be having is, what exactly is branding in itself, right? So now a lot of people would be thinking that branding is nothing else but the logo and the color of the logo, and that's it, and the typography and slogan, and that's it. But that is not what branding is all about. Branding itself is much more inclusive and holistic. For example, when you hear the word Amazon, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? All right, so I'll give you a fun example about that. So Amazon in itself was actually named on the river. Okay, so actually, if you ask this question 20 years back, everyone would be saying that Amazon is a river. Let it be, even if you ask this question in India to people about 20 years back, a lot of people would be saying that Amazon was a river in the North America region. All right, but today the definition of Amazon has completely changed. Now, again, by hearing the word Amazon, I'm pretty much sure that everyone would be realizing that it's not the river that they get into their minds first. It's actually the e-commerce giant, and maybe you would be recalling their boxes or you would be recalling their website. And not only the logo itself, you would be having a feeling of trust or distrust. For example, I pretty much have a good experience with Amazon, so obviously I would be I would be gladiating some positive feelings about it. But again, it really depends how your experience has been so far. Even though Amazon takes all the effort to portray itself as an excellent company, it's not about the image that they are trying to portray, but in fact your experience also which forms your perception about it. So all in all, it's not about what your brand, I mean, what you showcase to your people that matters, but in fact it works the other way around. So brand is all about how people perceive your brand, that really matters. Now, brand name is something that really takes good amount of time to build, and for someone to recall your brand, on an average, to build a recall, a brand needs to be shown across at least 7 times so that they recall your brand name. And to improve this brand recall, a lot of companies use different ways to increase their recall. So you can see like the aspects of branding all across. So for example, let's say if you're actually shopping on Flipkart, then you will be seeing their logos on their website, you will be seeing their logos on their invoices, you will be seeing their logos on their packages, and so on and so forth. You would also see all of its branding across its stationery, letterhead, business cards, and so on and so forth. So Ola and Uber has used this really smart tactic to get some free branding opportunities by having their stickers placed on the back of their cars. Another example for that is Zomato and Swiggy. So I'm pretty much sure a lot of you guys might have seen these Zomato and Swiggy guys on the road. In fact, as a matter of fact, a lot of people get to know about Swiggy itself in the first place by seeing these guys in the first place. I mean, so think of it as free branding opportunities, and at least it brings a good amount of curiosity. Now, the question that everyone is asking is, why is branding important in the first place? So first things first, the most important thing it really helps you in doing is that it really helps you in building customer loyalty. I mean, you can see that, let's say if you're actually, if there's a new product in the market that competes with you, but if you have good loyalty, then there's a very good chance that your users would be retaining to you. Similarly, let's say if you are actually launching a new product, then it really makes the process easy, because so let's say if you have your own brand and if you are adding some new extension to it, then it really helps in uh, easing out the launch because of your parent company. And then that is why you have your, I mean, let's say Tata as an example. Tata has like a lot of companies under their belt, right? So if tomorrow they are coming up with some new product, then the public acceptance for that comes in very, very easy because of the trust and the brand name that comes behind it. And when it comes to India, I think these brands command great brand royalty. So you have Dairy Milk, you have WhatsApp, you have Good Day, Britannia Good Day. When it comes to Colgate, I personally believe that Colgate also has a very good presence. Same goes for Amul when it comes to milk. Dettol when it comes to antiseptic. Not everyone says that take I don't even recall who's Dettol's competitor. Let's say Savlon. Savlon is one competitor. So, but the first word that comes into someone's mind is Dettol itself. And when you want to stick anything, you already know where you go. You go all the way to Fevicol, and that is how powerful brands can get. And obviously, if you want to have some biscuits, I mean the basic biscuits, then Parleji is the way to go in the first instance. As a matter of fact, I would like to say it across that Parleji currently is world's most selling biscuits, the basic ones, not Parleji hide and seek or something. The basic uh, biscuits, the cheap ones, are the highest selling biscuits in the entire world. So these brands have such good amount of customer loyalty, so that even if tomorrow, if a new competitor comes in, or if their existing competitor slices down the prices, then it wouldn't really make such a big difference to their sales because of the brand loyalty that they have in the market. And if you're actually a very well positioned brand in the market, then you can also go to all the extent to like ask for premium prices, which is very well exercised by big companies like luxury companies like Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Gucci, Chanel, Cartier, and Rolex. So the actual cost of LV bags is slightly higher than the normal bags that you buy, but the way it's positioned and the way it markets itself and the perception that they create in people's mind, that is how they can ask for exorbitant prices. And that is all the power of branding, and on top of that, positioning as well. Now, not only it helps externally to attract the people, but internally it also helps a lot of companies to use their brand as a mean to attract excellent talent into their company. A good example for that would be, let's say if I give you two examples, let's say if you want to work for Accenture, or for that example, ABC company, I mean, some company that you haven't really heard of. There's a very good chance that 70 or 80% of you would be saying that they would want to work with Accenture because of the brand name and the image that and the perception that you have in their mind that they would be having good working conditions. And so this is how brands are also equally useful to a company as well. And and this is actually a general human behavior that they would want to work with someone who's renowned rather than working with someone who they haven't really heard about. Now, when it comes to branding, it not only applies to businesses and products itself, it also applies to multiple variants. For example, it applies very well to actors, and also when it comes to pop stars, it also applies very well to pop stars. For example, at the end of the day, Shah Rukh Khan and Justin Bieber, both of them are just individuals just like us, right? But what you can term them is that they are branded human beings, and that is why people are ready to pay huge amount of money to attend their concerts. So this is how powerful brands can become. Politicians are also pretty much on the same field. This is a famous quote like Modi hai to mumkin hai. And not only, I'm not specifically saying only Narendra Modi, but all the politicians, they have some branding attached to it. For example, let's say when it comes to BJP as a political party, their logo or their brand would be the lotus or the kamal, as they say. And when it comes to Congress, they have the hand, which you might be knowing as well. And when it comes to Aam Aadmi Party, they would be having a broom or a jadu as they have their logo. So this is what their brand represents, right? So obviously, different political parties also in a way pursue branding knowingly or unknowingly. And not only that, it also applies to multiple countries. So here you can see that all countries here, and all of them have own flags. So flag can also be determined as a brand. And I mean, and a lot of countries actually position themselves as expert in a particular domain. For example, when it comes to wines, so French wines are actually considered the most superior wines in the entire world. And when it comes to chocolates, Belgian chocolates are something that are really considered superior to all the other chocolates in the world. And also in case of India, I think when it comes to mangoes, Indian mangoes, Alfonso mangoes, are marketed as one of the best mangoes in the world. And similarly, when it comes to yoga is something that's really popular. And not only that, it also applies on a personal level, consciously or subconsciously. For example, let's say if you have, I mean, you might be having some friends whom you would like to loan out money without a second thought, whereas you would be also having some friends whom you never loan out even a single penny. Because this is directly or indirectly a part of their personal branding as well. And branding, if done right, can actually be a asset to a company. So I'll showcase you. I mean, these are like some of the most powerful brands, and I'm pretty much sure you would be identifying all of these companies by their logos itself. So first we have Apple, then we have BMW, Intel, Starbucks, and Mastercard. And on a monetary basis, let's say if you're actually well familiar with accounts, so brand also has a value. So let's say if you're buying a company, it's not only the company and the assets that you're buying, but also the brand name that you end up buying. So when it comes to brand itself, it is considered as an asset. And if you're well aware with how accounting works, then it is actually considered as an asset in under the section of goodwill, or also known as brand equity. And the reasons Walmart went forward and bought Flipkart for $16 billion was strong brand presence. Now the branding game goes to a completely next level, where the brand itself becomes a synonym or replaces the word itself. For example, let's say if actually you want to look up something, you would be saying that I don't really know it, just go forward and Google it. I mean, that is how so powerful Google, the word itself, has become. So no one says that I don't know, search it over the web. Everyone just says that I don't know, just Google it across. And obviously there are a lot of multiple search engines in the market, like Bing, there's Yahoo search, but no one says that I don't know Bing it, or I don't know Yahoo it, or something like that. So Google in itself has become such a powerful search engine that today it has completely become a verb. And not only that, when it comes to water as well, so you also know that when it comes to water. Not everyone says that mineral water ले ले या तो वैसा कुछ ले ले. Everyone says that have some Bisleri or have some या तो Bisleri ले ले. So when it comes to brands, some companies are very very smart in engaging multi-brand strategies. Now what is a multi-brand strategy? I'll showcase across to you with an example. So, but the entire agenda for engaging multi-brand strategies is that they capture a good percentage, or probably in some cases the entire part of the market. For example, I'd like to showcase you that Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus, and Realme, all of these brands belong to a single company called BBK Group. So BBK Group is one of the biggest companies in China, which is primarily into phone manufacturing. And Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus, and Realme in India is completely owned by BBK Group. So when you actually see the ads, you would be thinking that these are competitive brands. But when you actually come here and once you see what's actually going behind the curtains, you'll get to know that Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus, and Realme, all of these companies belong to the same company. I mean, all of these brands belong to the same company. There's also, when it comes to Marriott hotels as well, a lot of hotels that you see, eventually they end up being a part of the Marriott group itself. So you have JW Marriott, you have W Hotels. If you know, there's one in I think one in Goa. There's St. Regis, then there's Ritz Carlton, there's Sheraton, there's La Meridian, there's Westin, and all of these hotels. There's also Renaissance and Marriott, and then Courtyard, Four Points, Fairfield. So all of these hotels, when you actually go on the streets, you will be thinking that this is some different company, this is some different company. But at the end, when you actually when I'm actually showcasing this particular sheet to you, then you will get to know that like all of these are the umbrella companies of the same brand. So Marriott in itself has become is very smart in deploying multi-brand strategies. So for a customer, they would be thinking that these are all different companies, but at the end, all of them belong to the same company in itself. All right. Not only that, I would like to showcase you another thing as well. So Louis Philippe, Van Heusen, Alan Solly, Peter England, People, Planet Fashion, Hackett Linder, all of these brands belong to Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail. Now, when you actually walk into a mall, you would be watching these brands like Alan Solly and Van Heusen, and all of these are stores are right next to each other or probably on different floors, and then you will be thinking that all of these are different companies. But ideally, they're different brands, but again, they belong to the same company. That's Aditya Birla Group, and this is just to make sure that they target all the different demographics, just the way Marriott does. So Marriott has West End, which is for the premium audience. They have like 4 Points, which is for not so. I mean, again, it's for premium audience, but even in premium, they classify people as top premium, and then medium premium, and then premium, and then that is how they divide all the people around it. So similarly goes with Aditya Birla as well. So when it comes to Van Heusen and Alan Solly, they are pretty much targeting people in the higher category of income groups, whereas Peter England is something that targets a little bit medium range demographics. So this is the way that they deploy multi-brand strategies to make sure that they have good amount of capture in the market. And not only that, a lot of companies go even to the extent of changing their original brand names in some other companies. So I'll showcase some example around that as well. So again, this is another case study by HubSpot itself. So Burger King in India is actually known as Hungry Jack's in Australia. So this is another example for Lay's. So Lay's is actually called as different things across different places. So in Mexico, it's called as Sabritas. In Venezuela, it's called as Margarita. In Brazil, it's called Chipsy. In Middle East, it's called, I don't know even what this reads. In Israel, I'm not really sure what this reads. In Australia, it's called Smiths. In Vietnam, it's called Poca. And in UK, it's called Walkers. So you can see how these guys have their names at different places. Now, there are two reasons behind it. Reason number one is a lot of times they prefer to have different names because locally it relates well to them. For example, Chipsy, it's also a good name, but maybe because of the language that they speak in Brazil, they might have adapted the name. Or maybe what happens a lot of times is that Lay's in itself, the name itself won't be available in Brazil because someone else might have taken it. So they wouldn't want any legal consequences. So they completely change the name to Smith Chipsies, and then you can see all the different names that they have across. And we'll go forward and cover some more examples. So Walls ice cream, quality Walls ice cream. So again, that is called different at all the different places. So in South Africa, it's called Ola. In Kenya, it's called Selecta. In Switzerland, it's called Luso. In Spain, it's called Frijo. In South America, it's called Tio Rico, Bressler, Kibon. At some places, it's called Good Humor. At some places, it's called HB. And in Russia, it's actually called Unimapco. Now, again, as I told you, like a lot of these places, they have like different names. Now, another thing that could also possibly happen is that, for example, all of these companies, they have the same logo. I mean, the same heart logo here, but except for Russia. A good reason for that would be, let's say, Quality Walls would have wanted to go to Russia, but they would be having this particular company in Russia, which is pretty much well established. So what they might have done is they might have acquired that entire company, and they might have decided to keep that logo. A good example for that is Thumbs Up in India. Thumbs Up originally belonged to a company called Leher, and then Leher, the entire company, was eventually taken over by Coca-Cola, and I mean now it's a part of Coca-Cola as a company. But you can see very clearly, like at this point of time, you would be thinking that Pepsi is altogether a different company, and Coca-Cola and Thumbs Up, you would be thinking they're competing products, but at the end of the day, they belong to the same company. Similar for Axe. So Axe, a lot of places is called Lynx. I think in India it's also called Lynx. Kellogg's is also called Choco Krispies and Cocoa Pops and all of those different names. Burger King is called Hungry Jacks, and then KFC is called PFK in Canada. And there are some more examples around here. So Ole is called Olas, and then you also have let me pull up some popular examples. So Galaxy, the chocolate that you have here, it's called actually Dove in rest of the world. In India, also it's called Galaxy. Vaseline is actually called in Spain, it's called Vasenol, and you can see all the different examples here. Budweiser is also called Bud in the European Union, whereas for US, Canada, and United Kingdoms, it's actually called Budweiser. So this is all strategic business moves. Maybe that would be on the basis of name availability, or probably they would be wanting a good local connect. So that's about it for all the different brand names. Now, when it also comes to the brand names, some companies also go to the extent of safeguarding their brand names to good extent. For example, I'll showcase another use case, and here you can see that Bisleri itself has like four different replicas. So one is Belsri, another one is Bilseri, third one is Brisley, and then the original one is Bisleri for sure. And that is why if you actually see some of the labels, then they would be clearly mentioning that imitation of label or graphics of that particular product is prohibited and not really legal. And then if someone does that, then they'll be taking some legal action against it. So this is what happens when people go all the distance to safeguard their brand names. Similar case I'd like to showcase across is, I'm pretty much sure a lot of people would be knowing about Ease My Trip, right? So Make My Trip also went to the court for trademark violation, and they filed a suit against Ease My Trip because the names are pretty much similar. So this is just one example. Obviously, there are multiple instances where one company takes some other company to the court over trademark violation. So this is everything what branding is all about. In the next few sessions, we shall be learning how to create a brand that people would love. And to create a well-renowned brand is a long-term game, but we'll begin with baby steps, which would be designing the identity of your brand, for which you would be creating the visuals of your brand. So it would be containing logo, colors, fonts, visuals, and typography, and fonts and families, and all those things. So before we go forward and start designing the logo, first things first, we have to identify how our ideal buyer looks like. And for that, we'll be designing our own buyer persona. Now, this is something that we'll be covering tomorrow. So for today's session, that's it for now. I hope you like today's session. And after the session ends, we shall be asking you for some feedback. And along with that, we'll also be having some fun interactives and a quiz session as well. But before we jump on that, we'll be taking a 5-minute break, and I'm dropping the link. So you have to access that link and then answer the open-ended questions. And then once we are back, then we'll jump on those questions. like to jump on the Menti session, interactive session. So I'm pretty much sure all of you must have filled up the form so far. So we'll go through all of the questions one by one. And after that, we'll be jumping on the quiz. And post that, we'll be jumping on our uh, Q&A. All right. So beginning with the first thing is that, okay, so just for starters, if you are new to this, then I'd like to say it across that wherever in all of the submissions, if you can mention your name, that would be really helpful so that we get to know who's actually answering those things. All right. So we'll move to the first question. And this is pretty much like an opinionated answer. So which brand do you like more? And here we can see that 13 of you like Instagram more and 8 of you like Facebook more. So we can see here that Instagram has a lead. Now let's go to the next question. So which brand do you like more, YouTube or Instagram? And here also we can see that YouTube is more versus Instagram. So personally, even I like Instagram less and YouTube more. So I think we are on pretty much on the same boat. Now let's move to something else. Which brand do you like more of these? So Paytm, Google Pay, and PhonePe. So we have people going. So it's a pretty even Steven. I think I'll put in my personal opinion. For me, when it comes to me, I think I like Paytm more. I used to like Google Pay before, but of lately the remittance that is goes. It takes like sometimes it takes about 2 or 3 days for the remit to go. So Paytm so far is my personal favorite. Now, what brand do you like more? Again, Flipkart or Amazon? And here we can see Amazon. Most of the people opting for Amazon, and same for me as well. So Amazon is something that I like more over Flipkart. Which brand do you like more, Apple or Android? Now, this is somewhere I like to see. So I can see here that a lot of you are more inclined towards Android. Me personally, I think I'll be going a little bit against the grain. I like Apple more, but again, it's personal choices. Nike or Adidas? My personal is Nike, and I can see here most of you like Nike more. So that's even here we are pretty much on the same boat. Coke, Pepsi, thumbs up. I think here I'll go with thumbs up, and we can see most of the people here go with Coke. I actually like thumbs up taste better, but again, it's personal preference. And here we can see that even though Pepsi is so popular, only 3 of you like Pepsi the most. All right, so now we'll jump to this one. Just like Google it, I need to Xerox the document, buy a Whistler if you're thirsty. What are some brands which have completely replaced the product or the verb itself? So here we can see Xerox, obviously. I actually wanted everyone to put up your name. So I have no idea. And then there's someone mentioning Dettol, Vaseline, Colgate, Cherry Blossom, Parachute. I mean, I think this goes pretty good. So Parachute, no one really says these days get a hair oil, get Parachute. Dettol also goes the same with that as well. Vaseline, when someone wants to go forward with cream. Cherry Blossom, I'm not really sure what that is. Tata Salt, I think, yeah, salt. When it comes to salt, I can say that Tata Salt also is another thing. Fevicol, definitely. Fevicol is actually called, the material Fevicol is called adhesive gum, but no one calls it that way. Everyone just calls it uh, car, like Fevicol. Similarly, for Swiggy and Zomato, I mean, these days we don't say that bahar se khana mangal hai. We just say that Swiggy it, or not Zomato it. Swiggy is the it, being it easy on the tongue. So Swiggy it, Uber it, Google it. So you can see very clearly. No one says Amazon it because it has 3 syllables. So Swiggy it and all these things. There's also a good benefit of having a 2-syllable thing. ऑनलाइन शॉपिंग अमेजोन से कर लेना चीज भी से अमूली चाहिए ओके दैट आल्सो गुड so maggi is a good example. Maggi, yes, no one says that I need some noodles. Everyone just says that I need some maggi. This ideally won't be the correct example. This buts for you. I think this is also, so you don't have to go for the slogans ke aage jeeta hai. These you don't have to put up slogans. You have to use examples where the product itself has changed the whereas the brand itself has changed the product. For example, WhatsApp means the location. Okay, that's good. Saying Activa instead of Scooty. So as a matter of fact, Scooty is not scooter. Scooty is also a brand. So I think the brand was Kinetic Scooty. So that is why we call it today as Scooty. So Scooty is also a brand. It's not a short form for scooter. WhatsApp me, toothpaste, and yes, we don't really say. I mean, elderly people use the word Cadbury more, so no one says that chocolate like Yana. Most of the people say Cadbury. Bring in some Cadbury. Kingfisher doesn't go this way. I mean, no one says that. Let's say if someone wants to have some drink, no one says. I mean, at least so I don't really drink, so maybe I'm not the right person. But of what I've heard, no one really says that Kingfisher Liana, but it might be something that's happening in your region. It's something that's not completely wrong, but that is something that goes pretty much. Okay, I can see Xerox and Bisleri. Okay, just one thing to say, you guys, don't just go forward and put in the same examples that are put up in the slides. I want you guys to come up with some fresh So Band-Aid, yes, Band-Aid is a good example. Vastin is also a good example. Aspirin also a good example. Google, Xerox, Bisleri is again the same. And then Fevicol, Foxel, Rye, Band-Aid, Cello. I think Cello by Cello, I mean they're trying to make it sound like it's a and give me a Coca-Cola. Coke, that makes sense. All right, so here I think all of you have done a pretty well job here. Now okay, so with this we have reached the end of the presentation. Now I'll be going forward and dropping the link on the chat. I'm dropping the link on the chat. Please go back to BigMarker and there you'll find the link for the quiz session. Please go ahead and get started with it. Just to let you know, you guys won't be able to attend any questions on quiz because quiz is something that would be happening real time. So all of us would be moving parallelly. All right. Okay, voice is cracking. I guess there might be some network issues on your end. Let me go forward and refresh, like turn on my mic once again. Okay, so I get part of the entire quiz is to look at the questions on the screen and then answer them one on one. The link for the quiz is actually dropped on the chat. I'm going to go forward and pin it. So I've pinned on the top, just go forward and access it. Meanwhile, I would want everyone to go forward and access the link. We'll wait for another 2 minutes for everyone to join in. And once everyone join in, then we'll go forward. Okay, so I'm getting another thing. Okay, I'll go for and drop it on the chat as well. I actually see a bunch of people have gone forward and submitted answers. I would want you to go forward and do the same. Maybe there's a possibility that you are accessing it from the phone. And another thing is that eventually, first week, usually is a little bit of a learning curve for everyone. But eventually, it's all right. So I think at 9:15 exactly, we'll be taking, we'll begin with the quiz. Good. Just to let you know, you proceed more than one question because this is a quiz session. So you won't be able to proceed more than one question. I can see some of you are facing some voice problems. In that case, I have gone forward and code. Give me one sec. Code is, I'll just go forward and paste the code. As if my voice is breaking, it might be because of low internet connectivity. But the more important thing here is whatever I'm going to speak. I mean, the quiz session in itself is something that all the questions would be on the screen. So even though there's a little bit of an internet issue, the questions would be on the screen. You can you can go for, read them and put it, select the right answer. All right. As I mentioned last week that because of the cyclone, the internet is not the best at this point of time. All right. I think it's 9:15 now. We'll jump on the quiz session now. So I'll just reshare my screen to. Okay. So we are already on the first question, the definition of branding. Creating a dash for a product that makes it different from the competition. So most of you have mentioned logo and most of you have mentioned identity. Now let's see which is the right answer. So the correct answer. Now we'll move to the next question. But before that, a quick glimpse on the leaderboard. Just give me one sec. Okay, we'll jump on the next question. Now, the next question that we have here is, okay, now I think you guys have to join in. My bad. Please go ahead and join in. I can see 10 of you have joined, and I can see there are about in the session. So I want you guys to go forward and join this. Waiting for more students to join in. We'll begin the session at 9:18, so it's 10 seconds to go. All right, perfect. So we'll jump on the first question now. And the first question that we have for the day is, so you have to answer fast to get more points. And the first question that we have is, the monetary value that is derived from customer perception of a given brand name is called what? Just go ahead and type it in the chat. So the correct answer is brand equity. And we can see a bunch of people have gone forward and given the right answers, brand equity and goodwill. And let's have a look at the leaderboard now. So far, only 2 people have now we I think there's some internet issue. So these are the scores for the last round. I'll jump on the next question. So this is the second question coming your way. You have to create a portfolio company similar to which company? It's a pretty straightforward answer. Go ahead and put it on the chat. The right answer wins. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the correct answer is obviously Lanika. So we can see a lot of people have given the right answers. There are some mentioning about Facebook, Spotify, Lanika, Apple. Guys, you have to create a portfolio company similar to Lanika. Obviously, we'll be covering this in the next few days. Now, I'll be going a little bit fast now that you're getting used to the system. And this is the leaderboard so far. So we have Uttam Kalko, who scored this top 1, Vishal and so the first, Manik is second, and Uttam is third, and then after that we have all of the rest of the students. So just to let you know, the scoreboard would only show the top 10 students. So besides all of the 10, besides the 10 students, all the other ones would be not shown. All right. So the next question that we have here is this one. The strategy involved a company marketing several similar brands as competitors, each with their own brand names, is called what strategy? A good example for that would be Oppo, Vivo, Realme, and this thing. Go ahead and please answer. So we can see only 4 people have answered this, and it's called multi-brand strategy. It's not multi-branding. The actual answer is multi-brand. So unfortunately, there's no one who's got this one right. Now we'll move to the next question. Guys, there are no options. You have to type in the answers. Now the next question that we have here is this. As mentioned in the session, India is popular for which mangoes? Just go forward and type it in. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's see who's got it right. So a lot of you have given the right answer. The right answer is Alfonso. Just to let you know, all the spelling mistakes, we won't be considering them. So there's some who mentioned Tutapuri, there's someone, everyone else has mentioned Alfonso, but the spelling of that is wrong. So let's see who's got this one right. Manak, Akash, Saurabh. Now we'll jump on the next question. They have come a little bit late, but nevertheless. And French, the answer in itself is wrong because it's not a country. The right answer is France, and 7 of you have given the right answer. So Manik is the one who answered this one right again. So top of the table, we have Manik, Akash, and Saurabh. We'll jump on the next question now. As mentioned in this session, which country is popular for its chocolate? Five, four, three, two, one. And the correct answer is Belgium. But Belgium is not a country. Belgium country. So 4 of you have answered it right. And we'll jump on the next one. So here Akash is the one who got. So Akash is the one who the fastest. So Akash is top of the table, followed by Menaka and Tanish. Now we'll be jumping on the next question. As mentioned in the session, Oppo, Vivo, Realme, and which brand belongs to the BBK group? Oppo, Vivo, Realme, and which other brand belongs to the BBK group? One. Okay, I think there's some problem on this end. The actual answer is OnePlus. So we'll take note of people who have given the correct answer, OnePlus, this and this one, and we'll update it on our sheet. All right. I think there might have been some mistake on the back end. So 4 people have given the correct answers here and 4 on yours. So total 8 of you have given it right. I'm not really sure why some of you guys are typing in BBK, because BBK already is the name of the group. So just make sure whenever you read the questions, you read it properly. Now we'll jump on the next question. As mentioned in the session, all these brands belong to which group? Alan Solly, Van Heusen, Peter England, Louis Philippe. All of these brands belong to which group? I think this is the first session, so maybe you might have missed out on this, but from tomorrow onwards, most of you guys will be much more attentive. I think who's got this one right? Saul is the one who got this one right. He's the top of the table, if I'm not wrong. No, not yet. Second on the table.